Good morning. So we are here back with another episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends. I got my friends with me. You see the Golden Girls? I got my squad with me this morning. Sipping on some tea. I don't know that coming out from that hot weather in DR with the AC and then flying. I don't know. I won't blame him for my because I was before I saw him yesterday, so he's not the problem. Um, so I am trying to nurse it, and that's what I'm doing this morning. So instead of having coffee, I'm having me some tea, some ginger tea. I love ginger. If you don't know, ginger is like it's truly a superpower. Like it's a superfood, super spice rather. But I love to have ginger in everything. Tea. I sprinkle it sometimes in my coffee. I put it in my oatmeal. Yeah, I'm one of those people. But let's continue with this conversation. So if you've been following the last couple of episodes, today's Wednesday, so Monday and Tuesday, I've been throwing out there. I've been reading Mel Robinson's book. Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory, and it's an amazing book. I think I'm like on chapter 5. So every day I'm like learning more and or just confirmation. There's a lot of confirmation of things that I've been teaching, things that I've been living by, my own principles. And so something that came up yesterday when I was reading, it made me think about something with Dr. Myles Munroe would say. And if you don't know, Dr. Myles Munroe, he was a pastor. He was an amazing teacher. He spoke a lot about purpose and relationships. He was really big on relationships, kingdom marriages, being about your father's business. And so when he spoke about purpose, as I was listening to Mel yesterday, something that he had said that I heard him teach on before, and then when I read his book, he continues to confirm it because it's something that he truly believes in. So this is what Mel said, right? And so she was speaking on from the aspect of how to discern what problems or situations to give energy to, right? That's what I gather. Like, it's like, how do I decide if this is something that I'm going to try to go out there and solve? And being a person who is a solver, I'm a fixer, I'm a strategist, I'm always thinking about that. Like, where am I supposed to? Because everything is not your job, right? Y'all heard me say this many times. Everything is not your assignment. Every person is not your assignment. So you don't have to go out there and try to take that on. So when she gave this is basically what she said. Is this going to bother me in an hour? How about a week? Or is this something that just annoys me right now? If in an hour from now it's going to bother me, then I should do something about it. If it's going to matter in a week or even a year from now, I should definitely do something about it. So this is what Mel said in her book, the Let Them Theory. I'll put the link down below. You can go ahead and get the book because I think it's an amazing read. I'm enjoying it thus far. But this is something that I think a lot of us who are, going through the healing process of like, we have responded to everything, right? I used to be a responder to everything. You annoyed me, I'm responding. And so what she's saying here, like, if it's not going to matter in an hour, then it's just really annoying you, right? But if it's something that is going to matter in a week, especially if it's going to be a year, then that means that you definitely need to do something about it. Now, what to do something about it is, that's going to be between you and God, and y'all can figure that out. Now, what Dr. Myles Munroe said, he always said, the thing that frustrates you the most is likely the thing that is in alignment with your purpose, right? So when he said that, and I probably read that for the first time or heard someone say that for the first time, was in 2016. And when I reflected on that, I kind of understand and I get it because it's true, right? Everything that frustrates me over the years, A lot of it, not a lot of it, because not a lot of things frustrate me anymore. Now I just realize some things are just annoying. People are annoying, and it has nothing to do with me, and I have nothing I can do for them, and I let that go. But the other things, the things that do annoy me, the things that do frustrate me, have always been in alignment of the things that I am working on now, right? Helping people to start to unlearn these narratives that they don't align with, that they have been fed over the years, and that has become their norm, and they're now breaking free, because that's what healing tends to do. When you start to heal and you start tapping into other aspects of your life, you start realizing maybe this doesn't really matter as much, right? And so that really was like the aha moment that I want you to really focus on. Like, if something is really annoying you, something is really frustrating you, then you really need to figure out, is this something that I need to put energy towards? And then you can go from there of figuring out whatever that energy is supposed to be, right? Everything is not going to be a one size fit all. So you really have to identify, once you figure out, as far as when we look at the quote that Mel came from, if it's going to bother you now, will it matter in an hour, a week, or a year? If it's going to matter, especially over a year or within a year, if it matters, then yes, you do need to start taking some action, start putting together some steps that's going to help you to navigate so that you can deal with that, because this is something that's very important. But everything else, even a week, I'm like, if it's gonna matter in a week, I mean, yeah, I can give you some energy towards it, but we're not getting a whole bunch of it, right? And so this can, I mean, and I'm trying to think of a time that I had, like, it was something that was minor, and it seemed minor. No, sorry, something that was minor, but to me it seemed like it was a big thing. And I'm trying to think. Nothing really sticks out, but I think we all can have those, like, where it's like a person, right? This person might annoy you, and then you feel like, oh, I have to help this person. That's a perfect example, right? And so many times, like, and I know I'm bad at this, and I've gotten a lot better. I used to take on like a bunch of mentees, right? Because I teach adults, I work in adult education, higher ed. And so I'm always going to be in alignment and in the space of, young people that are looking for someone that's going to help guide them through the next process. And because I had an awesome, awesome mentor growing up, I also want people to have that same experience. And so I remember, I had a mentee for a short moment, and I had to make a decision, because it was like whatever I was sharing was not resonating with that person. And then I had to realize, like, is this something that I can continue to put energy towards for, and I didn't even say a year. I was like within the next 3 months. And I really couldn't, because nothing was being absorbed, nothing was really being retained. Everything was just being met with resistance, and I had to just walk away. Right. And so I want us to think about that. I want us to think about all of the times that we have allowed these moments that really was just annoying moments. And we have made those into things that mattered for a very long time. And it really should not have ever been that far, should have never even gotten that far for you. Right. So the same thing with Dr. Myles Munroe, right? When I realized, people not having effective communication skills, that bothers me, right? Because it forces people to, no, it has allowed people to say, well, it's not my fault. Well, they didn't tell me. There's no accountability in their actions within that communication cycle, right? I remember when I had pitched this to some high schools, maybe about like before COVID or maybe right after COVID. And I had some schools, they was like, well, we talk to our students about communications. And I'm just like, someone is not, because we are having more students coming into higher education, freshman students coming straight out of college, and they don't know how to communicate, right? So there is a disconnect somewhere, but they have to see it's a problem. I see the problem, right? Because I'm coming from the space of, as an educator, someone who's engaging with the same audience that I'm trying to influence before they get to that point of being in my freshman year class. and there was a disconnect, right? And then we see this also with like injustice. So people that are very passionate about the injustice as far as race and sexuality, they have taken these situations that have frustrated them, that have annoyed them, and they realize this is something that they're really passionate about. And this is how we see a lot of nonprofits. They give birth because people are taking situations that they have actually maybe dealt with, or they just see as not being fair, and they have made that into an assignment. It might not be their overall purpose in life, but it does become an assignment, right? And some assignments, we do need people to advocate. We do need those people that are very passionate about it, because we often see so many times is that people will come into something just because, oh, there might be money tied to it. No, give me the person that wakes up in the middle of the night and they're trying to think of a solution to that problem. Those are the people that I want working on those assignments, because they're truly like frustrated because they know that there's so much more and so much great potential out there, that they now like, I'm gonna start pushing this agenda. That's a great thing. That's a great energy. Again, we just got to be very careful that we're not attaching ourselves to other things that are not meaningful to us, or things that just might annoy us for 5 minutes, and now we just made this into a big assignment and made this into our life's mission. That might not be the case, right? So I always, I used to, and there's still people out there, I still say they still teach about purpose, but they teach purpose as if this is like a big end of the year school project, a big science project. That's what a lot of them are doing. And I'm one of those individuals that's like, no, that's not how we need to do it. Like, this can be your assignment for the summer. This could be your fall assignment. This could be your assignment for 2025, 26. It could just be for a time period. It doesn't have to be the overall. And then a lot of things you might start noticing, they plug into one another, right? And so like everything that I do, I talk about lifestyle, I talk about healing and purpose. Those are pretty much the top three. And they all start to loop together. So it's not like they're like totally three separate entities and, it doesn't come together. I always end up finding those little things that frustrate me that fall into one of the three. And sometimes they fall into two of the three. And I feel like when it can fall into two of the three categories, that means that I really do need to put just a little bit of effort and time and patience into it, because that means that it's a problem that needs to be solved. So when we're looking at these two, like I said, Mel is really talking about, how do I discern if this is something I need to put some energy to? And then Myles Munroe is teaching us how do we pretty much take these actions and these practices and we align them to things that might be a part of our calling. And so I want you I want you to ask yourself, is this something that you're going to, that I need to release? Or is this the invitation for me to step into my purpose? Right. And I think that's something a lot of us, we really need when we're thinking about problem solving and taking the next steps. Those are things. Do I need to release this? Is this something I need to even give any thought to more than 5 minutes? Or is this something that's going to push me forward towards my purpose and my calling? And so every person that you see that's out here and they label it as, this is my life's purpose, this is my life's mission, they use words like that, you have to now, start to inquire, so what was the problem? What was the thing that frustrated you? If we start asking those types of questions, we'll start seeing each one of us who are out here actively in purpose. Everything started with a problem. Everything started with something that was frustrating or annoying. And that's a beautiful place and space to be in. Because when you start to surround yourself with those types of individuals and they can clearly articulate for you what that was and what that process looked like and why they got started, now you can start to take that framework and start applying it for yourself. So you can read the Mel Robbins, you can read the Myles Munroe books, and you can get that. But when you really can sit down with someone in your community, at your school, at your job, and they're actually actively living boots to the ground, and they can tell you, because the one thing that Mel said that a lot of people say is in textbooks, like the most successful people just found the correct formula and they just followed the formula. And the beautiful part about it is that it's not a brand new formula. They might have tweaked it a little bit, might have added extra name to it, put an extra word to it, but these formulas are the same formulas. And every single successful person has followed it. This is why so many times people be like, oh, they're copying off me. No, because you got that formula from someone else. And now that person has just tapped in and they got the same formula from you. This is the same formula that goes around. So she was given in her book about being a speaker. So that's why I was able to connect and resonate with it, because I'm also a speaker. But she's right. The formula that she had explained, someone told me this formula several years ago. And then back in 2021, when I got a speaker coach to build my speaking business, he told me the same form. This stuff is not new. So when I sat down and I'm just like, Dak, like, so we're all solving the same problems. We're given the same formula. We have the same framework. We just now have to put it into action so that we can see this come to fruition, so that we can help solve the problem that is annoying us or that's frustrating us. So again, I want you to get to a space, right? I want you to start making, I don't want to say a frustration list. Good morning, Paula. Happy Wednesday. I don't want you to make a frustration list, but that might be where you can start, right? So get you a book, and I want you to start writing things that frustrate you, right? And I'm not talking about, no, put everything. Housing situations, school situations, teachers, whatever, right? Once you have that, and then now you can sit and you can start to decipher, is there anything that I can do about this? So again, Mel said, is there anything that I can do past an hour from now about the situation? Yes or no, right? And on Friday, I'm going to introduce, because I should have introduced this a while ago, but it's just now dropping into my spirit. But it's going to be, can I do anything about this within the next hour? Yes or no? If this is a no, then 9 times out of 10, it's really nothing that you can do. Is it going to matter in another week? Is it going to matter in a year if nothing gets done? Yes or no, right? We have to get into this space and place. So when you start to identify and start putting that list together, you will start to see, you know what, this might be the thing that I'm really passionate about, and this might be the thing that can help me to propel into my calling or into my purpose, right? These little activities might just seem small right now, but the more that you apply and the more that you study. So again, I was able to take 2 figures, Mel Robbins, Dr. Myles Munroe, 2 teachings that are very similar, and we're able to bridge them together. And because we're able to bridge them together, this is where I'm just like, yeah, we can help each other figure out if this is something that can be an assignment that we put some energy towards for the next 6 months to a year. Because Mel said it's going to matter it's going to matter in over a week, a month, a year. Then yes, I need to put forth energy, and now you can go towards that. So I am one of those people. I want to help people to figure out what that is, because many people are stuck. They feel very stuck right now. And I don't want you to feel stuck. There's a lot that you're capable of doing. There's a lot that you can do today, but you have to start seeing that. And this will be a good way of saying, like, okay, I got this frustration list. You can put frustration list and then start to just list those things. And all the things that, like, no, it is going to matter in a year, right? So Mel gave a great example. She gave a great example. So she has a dog. And she said that she was going on a trail. She happened to see one of the park rangers. And, he was like very adamant to her, like, look, I know you have a dog. When you walk your dog, keep your dog on a leash and do not let your dog poop. And if they do, please make sure you pick it up, right? Very clear instructions. And she was kind of taken aback, like, why are you telling me this? Like, I do this already. But what was happening was that other people were not doing it. And so she was in a space as she was on her walk. She saw an adult with their dog off the leash. Dog is pooping everywhere. They're not picking up anything. And so at that moment, she was like, is this going to matter if I say something or if I am a part of, the solution? And she was like, will this matter in a day? Will this matter in a week? Will this matter in a year? And in that situation, she said it mattered because if they continue to have these problems with the dog owners, they were going to shut down the trail and no one was going to be able to walk. So it wasn't going to be, oh, we're just going to start ticketing people. Oh no, everyone is going to now have to suffer the consequences. And so this is where she was like, this is not going to be her life's mission, right? This is where the assignment showed up. And so she was a part of the assignment of encouraging other dog owners, right? So a park ranger telling you to clean up the dog poop is going to probably make you feel like you're back in school, you're being reprimanded. But when you have a peer, another dog owner who has their dog on the leash, and they're like, hey, maybe you should pick up, you should be mindful, put your dog on the leash. Your dog really shouldn't be jumping on people. Maybe you should pick up the poop. I would hate to see this trail closed because, so when they see a peer-to-peer coming to them and saying, hey, I don't want this to stop for us because my dog enjoys it. I enjoy it. I know you do, and it's all about delivery and how do you present that to the person. But if you are a part of that assignment, right, you're going to now start to see some more improvement, maybe, right? Because some people might just be those individuals like, well, I can do what I want to do. Cool. When they shut down the trail, please don't be out here crying because you were a part of the problem. So Mel just gave that example. Like, again, she wasn't going to go out there and start a nonprofit and start a whole business, to get parents and to get dog parents to go out there and to put their dogs on a leash. But in that particular space, in that community, she did her part so that she can keep the ability for everyone to share this. And those are the things that I'm talking about. So this is why I say, yes, I want you to get closer to your assignment, to your purpose. But sometimes it just really gets started with, what is the next assignment, right? This is why when I take jobs and God starts to transition me, all right, God, what is my assignment here, right? The company that I'm with now, one of my assignments, especially when I first started, was working with new faculty members and then pretty much encouraging them because these were practitioners. So we're talking about finance people that work at Citibank, Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, and they now want to come back to teach a class. They don't have an education background, but they have a passion and desire to share this knowledge and information. But they didn't have the confidence. They didn't believe that they can do this, let alone now you're talking about for them to design and to develop a course. So they're like, what's the learning objective? They saw what those things were because they went to school, of course, but they're like, I don't know how to create this. And what I ended up realizing was that I was there in that particular season when I first got joined on the team. And that's where I was able to flourish and I was able to just coach them through that process because I realized it's not even about the technical, it's about the confidence. And a lot of them lack the confidence. So when I spoke to the lack of confidence and to the low self-esteem of, in that particular case of being a new educator, now they were more encouraged to go and try out the new technologies that we were having conversations about. So I understood what my assignment was. And so when I understood that, everything started to just fall into place. And I mean, I was getting recognition from different department heads and they're like, this professor they were so impressed with her. She just helped them. And when I realized, I was like, all I was just doing was just speaking to that confidence that they needed to show them like, look, you can do this. Like, don't worry about what your degree is in. And I do that because that's me. I don't have an educational background, right? I don't have a degree in education, but God gave me this gift and he found a way to get me in. And as my mother always says, if they let you in, you're going to take over, right? And I did. And I didn't take over one place. I just played my place in the higher education and adult education realm. That was all that I needed, was an opportunity. So that's something I'm really working on that now because I'm starting to see we need more of those. I want to work with the people that are true educators at heart. Like God placed that gift in them, but they didn't go the route that will take them to the life of being a teacher or an educator. And I want to coach and help coach them to become that. So that's like my new mission. And as time develops, you guys will learn more about that, and I'll share more about that with y'all. But that's just something that I'm passionate about, right? And so, it all started with the problem. And I mean, for some people, the problem is just simple as I just need more money, and I need to. And they said I could teach because I have a background in something, so why not? And then we just start from there. So it's just so many different avenues. But I do recommend everyone, if you have not, get Mel Robbins' book. All right, the Let Them Theory. The link is down below. I have the link directly to the Amazon. You can purchase it. It's in Kindle, it's in paperback, and it's an audiobook. So if you are an audiobook person, you can definitely go to Audible. I think they have like a special for like 99 cents a month, which would give you one credit, which is equal to one book. So you can do it that way. Or if you have Kindle, I think it's probably under the Kindle Unlimited. I think that's the term, or the program. Or you can just buy the paperback, whichever one works for you. But it's an easy read. I'm finding it very easy, and it's so easy, and that you just like you can identify like the practical ways to apply these things. So and then Myles Munroe, man, I just encourage everyone, just Google Myles Munroe and purpose and listen. Like I love reading his work, but I love listening to him. Like some people I can't listen to all day, and he's one of those people. I wish he was still here. Like we need more of his teaching. So I'm really like, please go to those two and get those resources and start seeing. Then the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake is if you are like, all right, I'm ready. I think I know, or I'm ready. I'm willing to take a chance to figure out what is my calling. Um, you can get on my calendar. Right, I haven't set up because I'm doing my birthday special like I always do every year with my coaching. But you can go to my link tree and you can get on my calendar for a free discovery call. So if you do the activity that I gave, start creating your frustration list and then go to the link tree, and now let's have a conversation from there. I'm also going to be in this special coaching. It's going to be, you're going to have access to my AI chatbot. And I'm telling you, that's going to also loop in to help you to figure out what is your life's purpose, or what is the next assignment that you should start focusing on, right? The lessons are universal, but the messenger matters. It does. It does. Look, y'all know, and I don't like talking about people, but we're going to talk about it for the next like minute or two. I just saw something. Remember Derek Jackson? Derek Jackson was the one that was doing all of these videos back in the day, talking to women about deadbeat dudes, and right. And then we ended up finding out he was married, and he was out here cheating on his wife, and the whole 9 yards. And so I'm guessing he's trying to do a rebrand as always, which I don't knock it, right? I don't knock your rebrand, right? Somebody got to go out here and rebrand. And he was saying, he did a video, and I was listening to the video, right? So I was listening and I was like, he's right. And then when I looked at the video and I was like, yeah, like you're right. But like I don't really know I could trust you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Paula, you are so right. It could be a great message. But the messenger, yeah, I'm gonna need him to sit down, right? So it was, so when you said that, it just made me, because I literally just saw one of his videos, and like I said, in situations like that, I'll just put my phone down and let it play, and I'm just listening to what they're saying. And like a lot of people do have great things to say, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't live what they speak, right? And that's where we have issues and conflict, because it's like, yeah, you said something great, said something profound, but you don't live it, you know? And sometimes that also could be, God may just need you to get the message, right? Take the message. Don't attach to the messenger. So you have to discern, you know, if you should take this for, you know, for face value, or you should just be like, I'm gonna just leave that and not even attach myself. The last thing Paula says, so even if it's been said before, sometimes we need to hear the lessons again. Absolutely. And I'm 100% on that. That's why I have the mentality, I can plant the seed, I don't have to water it. Meaning that someone else, every time someone comes, they're going to water it, because they're going to either repeat what I said. And they already said, like, it takes like someone hearing something 3 to 5 times before they like actually decide to take action. So they might not even take action. They might decide. They might be like, you know, I need to do something about this. But they done heard this like 3, 4, 6 times, and now the thought process of I need to do something, and now they might have to hear it 10 times for them to start taking the first step. So those things really do matter, so keep, if you keep hearing the same messages, and that's another thing that I always tell people, that's another message from God. If you keep hearing the same message over and over, whether it's instructions, things that you should be doing, things that you shouldn't be doing, pay attention to that, because that might be something that God might be really like pushing you towards, or something that you might need to fast about, pray about, or just do. Okay, so don't hesitate from that at all. But yeah, be careful about all the messages, because yeah, that was an interesting one. But let me get out of here, y'all. It's been 30 minutes. So I'll be back here tomorrow. Well, I won't be physically here back tomorrow, because tomorrow is what? It's Thursday. So Throwback Thursdays, you get one of my messages. I'm gonna go through my Google Drive, and I'm gonna pull one that has not been published this year. I'm trying to pull something from like 2021, 2022. I had some good messages back then. So I'm gonna try to give y'all a message that you have not seen anytime on Morning Inspiration with Friends. Okay. The second thing that I'm going to start doing is transferring all of these into my podcast. So I don't know if y'all know, but I have a Spotify and like an Apple podcast. It's a lifestyle with Miss Inspiration. That's still up. I'm about to transfer all of this. So we're going to go back to, it's going to first start with the 21-day. Remember the 21-day challenge that I did of living and thriving as Miss Inspiration? That's going to get started. So I'm actually looking to hire someone to help me to do that, to do all of that conversion, because I don't have time for all that. But I know that it's something that God has been telling me to do for a while. And I was like, I'm going to do it, and it needs to get done. So I'm going to start with those first 21 days. And then we'll start having that. So you can also check me out on Spotify. Hopefully before the end of the year, we'll be caught up to date. And every time that I go live, it will automatically just filter to the podcast. But we're not there yet, but we will be there. So tell a friend, share this message, drop a comment below, and join tomorrow for a Throwback Thursday. But come back Friday, because I want to continue this, and I want to talk to you about one thing that I have learned and I have utilized within the last 3 years. I think like the last 3 years that I want to share with you. The script, what's that? Is that an app? Is that a website, Paula? Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I have to look at that, because I did see that YouTube now has where you can connect your videos to your, yeah, so it probably is a lot easier than I think it is. So yeah, let me look into that, because I did see that, and I do have my I think it's with the RSS. I do have those codes. So we can probably just quickly do that. But nevertheless, that is another thing that is on my list, because again, I want to start reaching more people. But you can join me 7 a.m. ish. We usually start like 7:05 or 7:10, but 7 a.m. ish on YouTube. And again, if you're following me on Facebook, every 30 days they delete the videos. So I do recommend that you come on over to YouTube, subscribe, and hit that notification so that you can, Paula said, and also to Paula, I'm gonna have to inbox you on IG. Yeah, so subscribe and hit the notification so that you will be notified every time that I go live. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Have a great one. Be well, be blessed, and we'll be back here tomorrow in spirit. Like, not live, but just be back here tomorrow, okay? Have a good one, everyone. Be well, be blessed.